Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and today I'm going to be talking about the ultimate simulator, which doesn't actually exist. But whilst I'm talking about that, I'm going to be taking a look at the latest updates that we have in Assetto Corsa in terms of the content shader, custom shaders patch. I keep calling it content because there is the other product, of course, the content manager. The custom shaders patch, as well as taking a look at Pure, which is an alternative to Sol by the same developer, Peter Bose, and also looking at the latest updates for the Shutoku Revival Project, because I thought that would be a good place to just drive around. Now, when I talk about the Ultimate Simulator, what I'm going to be referring to is I'm going to think about all the driving titles I've played, perhaps some that may not be necessarily driving first and foremost, look at the best parts of them and talk about which parts I would take to develop that ultimate simulator. So make sure you stay tuned, and of course, if you have any ideas as to what you would add from different titles to make the ultimate driving simulator, please leave it in the comments box. I will be reading them and probably responding to a number of them. Just as a point and a side point, we're talking about driving here, not racing per se. So I'm not going to be talking about what is going to be the best GT3 simulator, because for example with that, Assetto Corsa Competizione already exists, and that is probably hands down the greatest GT3 and GT4 simulator ever made. You also have iRacing for certain things. You've got different rally titles which have, rally simulation. All these racing simulators have been done, but what I think is really missing is the ultimate driving simulator. Is that not what Gran Turismo used to call themselves with the slogan? Okay, so out of the pits we go on this particular title, or this particular track, the Shutoku Revival Project. I'm on the overload circuit. I have my head tracking enabled, though I do not have any traffic enabled at this point in time. And whilst I'm talking about my ultimate driving sim, I will be driving around showing off the weather. We're going to have really fast transitions day to night, really fast transitions through the weather. So this should be kind of interesting, and it's just to show you guys whilst I am talking, just to give you some visuals as to what these particular mods are currently doing. And of course I've picked this track in particular because it is probably the best track to actually show all the various weather and time of day offsets and all of that, or time of day effects to you guys, because of the amount of lighting and everything that it has on this particular track. Anyway, so what titles am I going to be looking at, and what sections am I going to be looking at when talking about an ultimate driving simulator? And what do I mean by ultimate? Now, ultimate means, to me, the driving simulator that would give you the most control over what you can and cannot do with an open world track, or open world track circuits locations, such as this, for example. Does not have to be entirely open world, but it can be, for the most part, open world, giving you a lot of roads, various different roads to drive upon, and also with traffic. So let's begin with physics, because a simulator really needs physics. So if we talk about physics to start with, we are going to be looking at Assetto Corsa. This title right here. There is no title, I think, anyway, this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think there is no title that has physics better than this. I really think there is not a title with physics better than this for road cars. Now, there are titles with better physics for race cars. Again, I think iRacing has better physics in certain places. Assetto Corsa Competizione certainly does for GT3 cars. I think even Gran Turismo has better physics slightly in certain aspects, at least with the later updates. But when it comes to road cars, this has all of them beat. This, without a doubt, has all of them beat. I know Gran Turismo has a whole bunch of road cars. This is better. This is definitely better. I really hope I've got this weather working correctly, because I'm not seeing anything changing, which is going to be interesting. But there we go. So first off, we need Assetto Corsa's road car physics. That's a given. Yes, we need some updates to it, but that is where these mods come in, because these mods are so well done. The custom shaders patch, content manager, various different physics mods for the title where someone adjusts the physics of a particular car to be more realistic. What that means is that Assetto Corsa has the underlying infrastructure for it. It's just that they may have missed out on a bit of accuracy here and there. Great. So we have the physics sorted. What we then need is to look at visuals. And for that, I'm going to say that we need a combination of Assetto Corsa and Gran Turismo. Now, the reason I say that is because if we look right now at... Oh, we've got a bit of frame lag here. Interesting. I'll have to look at what's causing that. If we look at Assetto Corsa right now, this is with the pure shaders, which is phenomenal. Sol also is an incredible shade settable weather controller. I say shaders, they're weather controllers. And we have the custom shaders patch, which has sorted out a whole bunch of things from Assetto Corsa that perhaps in 2013, when Assetto Corsa first came out, could not be done. Okay, it started raining. So maybe that's what that was. It was the rain loading in. Cool. So we need to look at the visuals of both, as I said, Assetto Corsa in its current form, and Gran Turismo 7, because I think Gran Turismo 7 has some fantastic lighting, particularly HDR lighting, that we could really look at. So we've got the physics of Assetto Corsa. We've got the... Oh, come on. Oh, the rain's getting heavier. We have the physics of Assetto Corsa. We have the graphics of Gran Turismo. Weather controllers and weather... Whilst we're looking at weather, let's take a look at weather itself. Weather. I would say Assetto Corsa in its current form. I think the way that Assetto Corsa, the way that Peter Bose has created this weather controller, the Sol weather controller, where you could set it all up and just get on with it. Have presets, have dynamic weather. With the custom shaders patch, you've got the racing line, dynamic racing line. Gran Turismo also has that, so I will put that out there. And Assetto Corsa Competizione also has that. R Factor has some pretty good wet weather, I believe, so you have that as well. All of those combined, take the best of those weather controllers, and I think you've got yourself the best weather you could have. This is also really awesome. I'm going to put my beams on. There we go. So that is where we're going to get the weather from. So let's recap on what we have. Assetto Corsa's physics. A combination of Assetto Corsa and Gran Turismo for lighting. the weather from various different sims, including this right now. So Assetto Corsa with this modded weather, with the Sol weather controller and Pure, as well as R-Factor's weather and Gran Turismo's weather and Assetto Corsa Competizione's weather. Put those together and I think you've got yourself a really good weather system. Next up, sounds. Now this is an interesting one because Assetto Corsa has... Actually, there is one other title that I think has decent weather. Project Cars 2. Yes, we might want to add Project Cars 2 to the weather system. So let's add that one in as well. Let's now move on to sounds. What should we use for... Oh dear, this is getting a little bit slippery. Oh dear, oh dear. For sounds, let's go straight to 5th. Assetto Corsa has really good sounds. But every now and then it misses the odd sound. Gran Turismo has fantastic sounds at points. It's odd for me to say that because Gran Turismo historically is known for having vacuum cleaners for sounds. So the fact that we've got good sounds in Gran Turismo now is very bizarre. So Gran Turismo sounds perhaps, but I think again Assetto Corsa is the one that you need to go for if it is sounds that you are looking at. I'm trying to think of a title, a driving title that has better sounds, and I really cannot think of one. Especially again with updates that people have been making to Assetto Corsa. I really cannot think of a better set of sounds than this. As you can see, Assetto Corsa really is appearing many times in these lists, and there is a reason for it, because I think at this point in time Assetto Corsa is the closest that we have to the ultimate driving simulator. I think we're now in a thunderstorm. Weather is horrendous now. It's almost like I'm driving on the motorway again as I was the other day. Anyway, that aside, it's actually getting very difficult to see now. Let's go this way, shall we? Let's see what's out this way. Now I am going to have to slow down because it is a little dangerous on the driving. I know it's just a simulator, but just another aside. Yesterday I was trying to record another version of this in a different way for a different video that I'm not going to be actually releasing, and I got into a crash on this track. I was doing something with traffic. Traffic was being a bit weird. A truck rear-ended me, got into a crash, went sideways, hit the wall, wheel snapped on the curb, steering wheel flew to the left, did not manage to pull my hand out in time, and the metal of my magnetic shifter spun around at high speed, smashed into my thumb. My thumb is now swollen. I may have a hairline fracture on it, I'm not entirely sure, but I will say it really hurts. So, where did that one come from? Oh yes, me slowing down because I really do not want to get into another crash, and I'm not actually using my right hand to put too much pressure on because I cannot grip with my thumb at this point in time. So that is why I'm not going to be going all too quickly. Anyway, moving on from that. So we've covered weather, we've covered physics, we've covered sounds, we've covered visuals. Next thing we need is track selection. And I'm talking about locations here. And for this, I'm actually going to go to titles that maybe we wouldn't think of normally. So we have modded Assetto Corsa, of course, with these sorts of tracks. So the Tokyo Expressways, as we have here, the LA Canyon's track, Lake Louise, High Force, which I do hope that the developers of both Lake Louise and High Force do return and continue working on those tracks, because those tracks were phenomenal tracks that were sadly incomplete. I think that having those tracks, particularly High Force, I would have liked, because it would have just been interesting for me to drive around areas that I could very well be familiar with and drive on roads that I have either driven in real life or can go and drive in real life, as they are not too far away. It is the UK, nothing is too far away. In general, you could get from London to Edinburgh in half a day, less than half a day, in 6.5-7 hours. You'd be in Edinburgh. So you could get all the way up to the lowlands of Scotland. Obviously, if you want to go to the Highlands, you're adding a couple of hours on that, but still, half a day from London all the way to perhaps somewhere like Aberdeen or something. Pretty simple. Anyway, I'm getting distracted here with talking about geography, but those sorts of tracks from Assetto Corsa. But on top of that, those tracks still have some sort of limits. Tracks that I know that do not have limits, and some of them are now coming up to Assetto Corsa. The maps from Need for Speed Underground 2, Need for Speed Carbon, Need for Speed Most Wanted. Those are pretty good tracks. Really impressive. I'm headed to the airport. How have I managed to do that? I've just seen a sign saying Airport West. I've never been here on this map, by the way, so I am quite curious as to where exactly I am. But anyway, yes, Need for Speed Underground 2, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Carbon all had brilliant open world maps, but they were not very realistic. We can then look at the likes of Midnight Club LA, or Midnight Club 3. They were smaller tracks, but I remember Midnight Club 3 used to have I think Atlanta was one that you could drive around, which was quite impressive, as well as a number of other tracks. I think there were two other towns that you could drive around, and I cannot recall what they were. I used to just prefer driving around Atlanta for some reason. Obviously it was a much smaller one because it was on the PlayStation 2. There's a train up there. It was on PlayStation 2, but nevertheless they were pretty good. I guess the airport is this way. So you have that, or you have Midnight Club LA, which had a much larger track, or much larger map, should I say. You have the likes of Grand Theft Auto 5 with Los Angeles, or Los Santos as they have it. That's a fantastic place. If you could sort that out, that would be absolutely phenomenal. It looks like we've got some mist coming in at sunset with a little bit of drizzle. This is really nice. This is a weather combination I have not tried before, so it may wreak havoc on my frames. It may not. I think I wanted to go down there for the airport. That's fine though. It seems to be okay with my frames, but it's lights have come on. It's actually a really nice weather setup. Great. So yes, something like Los Santos would be fantastic to drive around. I think it would be a really well-made map for just driving. And again, we're talking about a driving simulator here. We're not really talking about racing, because I think what we really need is a driving simulator, one that you can just drive around, take screenshots, do multiplayer cruising. I think that is a really big thing nowadays, especially if you could get a virtual reality and you could get people who have a wide range of cars, a developer who's created a wide range of cars, realistic, you've got people all over the world with this internet generation. People make friends all over the world, and obviously in the real world, occasionally you might go cruising in your car. But if you had that option to do that in a simulator with cars you may never be able to own, for example, doing it in Ferraris or things like that, yes, it isn't going to be 100% realistic. That's a given. But it is going to be somewhat realistic, and that could be interesting. It could really be very interesting. So to do that in Assetto Corsa or in an ultimate driving sim would be awesome. But on top of that, you need to, so we've sorted out maps, we've sorted out weather, we've sorted out physics, we've sorted out sounds, we've sorted out visuals. There is one thing that is missing that I think would build the ultimate driving simulator, and that is customization. Because everybody who generally likes cars would like to customize a car in some shape or form. It does not have to be a big customization. For some of us, the customizations could be tiny. For example, just new lights on your car, something like that. Nothing too major. For others, it could be new exhaust, engine swaps, new intakes, body kits, all of that kind of stuff. So when it comes to the customization for, I think, mechanical stuff, so engine related, tire related, intake, exhaust, transmission, that sort of thing, I think the choice really is nothing other than Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo through the years, really. I remember upgrading in Gran Turismo 2. So really, Gran Turismo through the years has had the best in the way of upgrades. But what we would need is some sort of licensed upgrades. So not just, for example, I know Gran Turismo 7 you can put Brembo brakes on, but I would say not just Brembo brakes, but allow us to do a little bit more than that. Have a few different brake manufacturers, a few different tyre manufacturers, a few different exhaust manufacturers, and allow us to fit this sort of thing onto vehicles. That would be really cool, which would then obviously have an impact on the performance of the vehicle and the sounds of the vehicle. Because, you know, for example, a new exhaust, well, you can just listen to this one. That is definitely not your standard sounding exhaust. So that would be really awesome. And also, on top of that, we need customization, body kit customization, and for that, I think we need to look no further than Need for Speed Carbon. And in Need for Speed Carbon, where you could have, I think Gran Turismo has better wheels, but Need for Speed Carbon, body kits, spoilers, wings, front splitters, front bumpers, wing mirrors, roof scoops, bonnet scoops, all of that kind of stuff, rear bumpers, side skirts, the works, interior, exterior. Need for Speed Carbon, I think, is the go-to for the ultimate customization, or the ultimate customization platform in a driving sim. And I think if we had something like that, people would spend a lot of time customizing their vehicle. And then lastly, you need liveries. And for that, I think, again, Gran Turismo has the best livery editor, although Forza could come into play on this as well, because Forza has had a very decent livery editor as well, and that's Horizon as well as I think Motorsport. I know there's a new Forza Motorsport coming, so maybe that will have an even better livery editor. Now, Gran Turismo's livery editor does have some issues, I will say that, but for the most part it is really, really nicely done, and you could create some fantastic liveries. Put that all together, all of that, so you've got yourself fantastic physics with a great tyre model, suspension and the like. You've got yourself fantastic sounds, you've got yourself open world maps, you've got fantastic visuals, weather, customization, both for mechanical and aesthetic, or I suppose some of the aesthetic stuff would be mechanical as well. For example, new wheels could be lighter, a wing could provide better downforce, and as I said, maps like this, for example, or even something like the things that you have in Grand Theft Auto or Midnight Club. Test Drive Unlimited was another one that's had a really good map, and you're golden. That, for me, is the ultimate driving simulator. Now, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Okay, I cannot go down there. I would like to hear your thoughts on what your opinions are on the ultimate driving simulator. Do you think I have it right? Do you think I am missing something? Because I could very well be missing certain things. I may have talked about something or missed talking about something, and that is very much a possibility. Do you find the lights are not quite as bright as they need to be? I think I'm going to make an adjustment on my custom shaders pattern and brighten up the lights just a bit with pure, because when using pure, the lights are not quite as bright. So I was going to say the brights are not quite as light. Yes, that is not the way it goes. So yes, do you agree with my choices? And who would make something like this as well? Honestly, I think the only company I could think that could make that, in fact, there are two companies that I think could make that. Kunos is one of them. Yeah, I definitely need to brighten up my lights. These headlights are way too dim. They are way too dim. Kunos is one of them. But the other, I think, that could potentially pull this off, I honestly think could be Microsoft. Because of what they've done with Forza before, I honestly think Microsoft could pull something like this off. They are the two game developers. Is it Turn 10, isn't it, with Forza? They are the two game developers, I think, that have the capability of pulling this off. And of course, Microsoft, with the power of photogrammetry that they now have, they've done it in Microsoft Flight Simulator, they've got those Bing powered maps and everything. They could very well build massive open world maps. For example, imagine building London with very little traffic. That would be awesome. Very little traffic in London. In fact, traffic is another thing that could be a big part of a driving sim. If you want traffic on, I think a game, Grand Theft Auto, that has fairly decent traffic overall. I think Forza Horizon's traffic is a little too... I think the traffic on Forza Horizon's a little too sparse. It isn't... There just isn't enough of it, whereas in Grand Theft Auto, there really is a lot more in the way of traffic, which is much better. Let's slow down a bit. This all looks really nice. I think the screen space reflections are a little bit wonky in places, but that's fine. This is all modded. Remember, this is nothing like what Assetto Corsa was ever supposed to be. Assetto Corsa was never meant to look like this. Am I topped out? I am. Just ease off on that a little. There we go. So just enjoying a bit of straight road here. It's going pretty fast. let's ease off a little. Yes, so those are my choices. Put those all together and I think you are going to have the ultimate driving simulator. I'd like to hear your choices, so please leave them in the comments box below. And I am going to end this video right here. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the drive around here with the various weather and time of day effects, which actually look really good. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. I have a few other things lined up. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think, your suggestions on the ultimate driving simulator. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media at ECGadgetLP on Instagram, and perhaps if Twitter still exists, Twitter. Also, lastly, you can join my Discord channel. Link in the description box below. Do click it. Feel free to join. You get access to a couple of channels for free. You know, you do not have to be a part of a Patreon to get access to a couple of those channels. And it would be nice to build up a small community, which as time goes on, I will be increasing the number of channels and increasing the community size and all of that kind of stuff. And it would be nice to hear what you guys think, any suggestions you have for videos and the like. That is all from me. Thank you very much once again for watching, and I'll see you next time in Assetto Corsa.